Senator from Montana.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise today on behalf of this nation's farmers and ranchers. I would urge this body to continue in the bipartisan way that they have been on the Farm Bill to get this Farm Bill passed, keep it in good shape. It's a strong Farm Bill at this moment in time. Work to improve it, get it out of the body so that farmers can have the certainty that they need with a predictable Farm Bill. I believe I'm the only actively engaged working farmer in this body. I have lived on the farm that I live on for over 61 years. My wife and I have been farming the land that my grandfather homesteaded and grandmother homesteaded, and my folks farmed after them for the last 41 years. During that time, I've been able to see good farm bills that have worked, and I've seen bad farm bills, the kind of farm bills that have resulted in devastating consequences for our family farms, driving families off the land, paving the way for more consolidation, and bad farm bills that have dried up our rural areas and our small towns, and along the way dried up our rural way of life. This is an important time for folks in production agriculture. Commodity prices are low pretty much across the board. We're seeing this administration engaging in tariffs and a potential trade war that is threatening Montana's #1 industry, agriculture, and threatening the viability of the economy in Montana and rural America. And that is why it is important that this week, critically important this week, that we pass a good farm bill that will work and give certainty for Montana's producers and rural communities across this country. In my travels around the state of Montana, I've had a number of listening sessions on the Farm Bill. I've heard from farmers and ranchers, visited with them, looked them eyeball to eyeball, and heard their concerns and heard their priorities. And during these Farm Bill listening sessions in Montana, I heard from grain growers, from cattlemen, sugar beet producers, hops growers, wools growers, pulse growers, specialty crop growers, organic growers. We grow a lot of stuff in Montana. I even sat down with the folks who fight the good fight to make sure that our kids don't go hungry. I sat down with fifth-generation Montana farmers and ranchers whose families have worked the land for over 100 years, and young producers who are getting ready to go out for their very first harvest. And for the most part, they all said the same thing, and that is that they wanted certainty. They wanted access to quality crop insurance that is a big part of the safety net for our farmers and ranchers. In times when they can't get their paycheck from the marketplace, this safety net is critically important. They also wanted to be in a position financially that they could hand their farm down, or ranch, their operation, down to their kids and their grandkids. But just don't take my word for it. Since my last Farm Bill listening session, literally hundreds of Montana's farmers and ranchers have written into my office to make sure that their voice is heard on the Farm Bill. Tom from Glasgow, Montana, wrote to me about the challenges facing farmers and ranchers, and this is what Tom said, and I quote, "I urge you to support the Farm Bill before it expires on September 30th. The legislation that came out of the Senate Ag Committee has a robust farm safety net, including a strong crop insurance program. Our farmers face a challenging agricultural economy. They need the certainty of knowing what programs are available as they make their plans for the coming years." Critically important. Everybody that's in agriculture knows that you have to plan multiple years out before you can get to a point where you can harvest that crop and bring it to the bin and get it to market. So having that kind of certainty of a farm bill, a long-term farm bill, and getting one done long before September 30th is critically important. Another fellow by the name of Frank from Lewistown, Montana, wrote me about the important role the Farm Bill plays in feeding this country, the United States. And here's what Frank said, and I quote, "The Farm Bill can help put the United States on track to ending food insecurity and hunger in our country. I urge you to work on a bipartisan farm bill that protects and strengthens domestic nutrition programs, especially SNAP." We have a democracy in this country, and we're very proud of it. But as we offer that safety net for our folks in production agriculture, we need to make sure that we don't have hunger in this country to the best of our ability, because democracies don't work well when you have a hungry society. So I'm here on the Senate floor to tell Tom and Frank and the hundreds of other Montana's farmers and ranchers who contacted me that their voices have been heard and that their priorities are reflected in this Senate Farm Bill. This bill reauthorizes critical crop insurance initiatives that keep farmers in business. It rejects the House attempt to combine and cut funding for successful conservation practices. It amends EQIP to allow dollars to flow to producers who focus on research conservation and drought resiliency. It strengthens our fight against foot and mouth disease. It keeps in place important sugar provisions, which have a multi-decade track record of success, especially in sugar beet country in southeast and eastern Montana. It reauthorizes funding for ag research, and as we know, for every dollar invested in ag research, we see major returns to our economy. It gives green light to industrial hemp growers. Industrial hemp, a crop that can fit in most rotations around this country, and Montana is no exception. And it reauthorizes funding for critical USDA rural development grants, which help fund water and wastewater infrastructure. It helps build rural communities. So when the House chose to make political hay out of the Farm Bill, I commend the folks in the Senate, because we got to work, and through the Senate Ag Committee, we got to put together a bill that farmers and ranchers can literally take to the bank. And we did so while protecting the provisions that feed hungry families and protect seniors. But now is the time to get this bill across the finish line. Through the amendment process this week, we have the opportunity to make this Farm Bill even a better bill. We have already attached a bipartisan amendment to this bill that strengthens the safety net by ensuring that ARC County payments properly reflect yields. We're giving more authority to the state and local FSA committees to identify ARC boundaries that reflect the conditions in the crops being raised in that region. And I want to thank the Montana grain growers for their support of this amendment, as well as Montana Farmers Union for their input. It is my hope that folks continue to check their politics at the door and do what's right for Montana's family farms, the folks who are making a living off the land, by passing a good farm bill this week. Farmers and ranchers are always talking about the future. They're always thinking about the future, whether it's the future of commodity prices or market access or costs, yields, oh yes, the weather. They're constantly thinking about the future of their operation, how they can implement new practices that will make this operation more financially viable to pass on to their children. So let's get the job done this week and pass a good farm bill that gives our producers in this nation, my producers in Montana, the kind of long-term certainty that they deserve, and gives them the keys to building even a stronger family farm unit.